how did I get into growing microgreens and why do I love them so much? Welcome back for another video to Recalibrate with Nate, and thank you again for joining me on the last video in this playlist series, which I will link in the description box below, the link to this entire playlist series. So if you did miss some of the previous videos, you can go back and watch those. As well as I will link in the description box below the plant-based bundle. The plant-based bundle is ending today. Today is the very last day that you can get the plant-based bundle. It is gone forever after tonight. Nearly $9,000 worth of products in this bundle for $50. You're getting over 200 different products, including my full Microgreens video course on how to sprout seeds, how to ferment your foods and make kimchi and sauerkraut, as well as how to grow microgreens. I've also got in there my Alive book, which is showing you the different ins and outs and the power and benefits of these little plants and why you would even want to start incorporating them into your life. I've also got my Dude Food book in there, which is a full choose your own adventure style meal plan, meaning that you can pick the days that you want to put together and incorporate together for your meal plan, all raw, all vegan, oil-free and sugar-free, as well as Lissa, my wife, has 5 of her ebooks in this bundle as well. So we have 8 products in this bundle, totaling over $200 if you were to buy them from us through our links. And that is included in the bundle for $50. You cannot go wrong. Also, if you're looking for some of our books that aren't in the plant-based bundle, say like the burger book, you can grab that for 60% off. I'll link that in the description box below as well. We're running a special just for another day for the Black Friday and the Boxing Day, just to extend a special deal to all of you out there looking to add more raw, more fresh foods into your day-to-day life. All right, so how did I get into growing microgreens and why do I love them so much? This is a really fun story, and the reason that I got into growing microgreens was not only are they beautiful and delicious and very, very healthy, but I met a guy on a ski lift. Some of you who tune into my channel know my story. I went skiing one day and I was riding solo. And when you ride solo, you put your hand up or your ski pole up and you say single, and another single rider can come up and you can ride up on the ski lift together. That way it keeps the line moving fast and people aren't just riding on the lift by themselves. So I'm riding the lift up this run. It's a black diamond, which means it's a more technical, more difficult run. And I'm riding with this guy and he starts asking me questions like where I work and what I do. And I started to talk to him and told him about where I worked, and I was working in the hospital at the time. But I worked in several other areas in the medical field, but at the time I was working in a pulmonary clinic. So what we would do is we would do sleep studies on people and find out how many times they stop breathing in the middle of the night. And if you're not breathing at night, you're not perfusing oxygen through your blood, you wake up really tired, and this is not good. Right? So I was seeing a lot of things happening within the time that I was working in the medical field. And I worked in the coronary care unit and the intensive care unit. I worked with old age patients. I worked with Alzheimer's patients. I worked with people who had diabetes. I worked in a lot of different areas in the hospital. I worked with oncology patients, people who were having to be on dialysis. And a dialysis is a very intense way of life as well. A dialysis machine is basically you're sitting next to this machine, it's pulling your blood out, filtering it through the machine, and then putting it back in you because your kidneys aren't working properly or you don't have kidneys. So I got to see a lot of people go through a lot of really painful things in life, and as I'm on this lift, I'm describing different things and talking to him about the different ailments that people go through. And he told me, he's all, you know, I reversed my stage 4 colorectal cancer at the age of 42. Stage 4 means there's not a lot of hope. Doctors were basically telling him like there's not really a lot you can do. But he told me he reversed it with living foods. Living foods, right? So foods that are alive. So he said to me, he's all, I reversed it at the age of 42 and I've been a raw foodie ever since for 44 years. And I was like, what? Like, oh my gosh, you have been eating nothing but raw foods for 44 years. And he's like, absolutely, raw living foods. If you are what you eat, what do you want to be? And I was like, I want to be living and alive. And he's like, exactly. So we eat living and alive foods. So that's really what kind of planted the seed of why I would even want to get into growing living foods like sprouts and microgreens. Now, of course, I even took it a step further and adopted a raw food diet. And I've been a raw foodie ever since I met him for nearly 6 years. This coming February of 2023, it'll be 6 years that I've been eating raw foods for my main source of calories. I have had a couple of cooked meals in that time, but aside from those few cooked meals that I've been eating nothing but raw foods. And that's actually how I met my wife, Lissa, Raw Food Romance. From after meeting that guy on the ski lift, I went home bound and determined to figure out how to become a raw foodie like him. Because this guy was 86 years old and he was skiing a black diamond run. 86. And I had seen a lot of people go through a lot of really horrible things at ages, anywhere from in their late 40s all the way until, his age, 86, but they weren't skiing. They were, in a hospital bed or on several medications, wheelchair, on oxygen, and it wasn't a way that I wanted to live. So I thought, well, if I can do everything that is in my power to live the healthiest life that I can by doing right by myself and ingesting more raw food, I possibly will have better chances of skiing like this individual who's in his 80s if I follow suit with what he did. So I went home and I started to dig, and I really started to research as much as I could into what raw foods are, how to eat raw foods, what kind of recipes you can make with raw foods, what a raw foodie even is. And that's how I found Lissa from Raw Food Romance. I found her on YouTube because I was needing help. I was needing a meal plan. And talking about meal plans, the plant-based bundle has several meal plans involved, and that's what is so incredible about this plant-based bundle. And I'm promoting it as much as I can because I don't want you to miss the opportunity that this can bring to your life. If you were to buy something like this, you have so many tools right at your fingertips to be able to use to change your life around in so many ways. From meal plans to exercise programs to mindset courses, right? You get my course on how to grow microgreens, how to sprout, how to make fermented foods. The power and benefit of plants is so incredible. And the more I researched, I would find different sides of the story, right? There's always different sides. There's always two sides or more to every story. But I was understanding that, wow, all the 9 essential amino acids, there's 20 amino acids that we need, but 9 of them our bodies can't make. So those 9 essential amino acids all can be found within plants. Imagine that. This is something that we're not necessarily told. And of course, I'm looking at things through a different pair of lenses with meeting this individual and working in the hospital. I'm seeing wow, in a way, because I would work under doctors as a medical assistant, I would see that these doctors only have maybe 10, 15 minutes with a patient, and it's all about adjusting their medications. It's not about necessarily inspiring them and educating them to change their lifestyle, right? And in our lifestyle, there's a lot of spokes in the wheel. Diet is only one spoke, right? Make sure you're getting good sleep, make sure you're having good hydration, make sure you meditate and move your body. All of these sorts of things are really, really important. But essentially, meeting that guy John on the ski lift, who was 86 years old, is what really clicked the gear. I started to recalibrate. Hence why I want to say in my videos, recalibrate with Nate, because it's all about the mindset shift. That's what started everything. That's when I became a crazy raw foodie, is because I had this mindset shift. I recalibrated my brain and how I looked at food and what food was actually going to do for me. So in the world, we can see that there's lots of different options out there. Some of these options aren't necessarily the most healthy, right? You can go downtown and get 2 pizzas at Little Caesars, which is a pizza place that we have here in the States, 2 large pizzas for $5, or you can buy a bag of grapes. If they're on sale, it's $1.50 a pound. So you might be spending anywhere from $8 to $12 on 1 bag of grapes. Now let's say you have a family to feed. There's maybe 2 partners and maybe a kid or 2, 3 kids. What are you going to do? You're probably going to buy the pizza to feed your family, or you're going to buy some other cheap food. So there's a lot of in a way, the system isn't necessarily set up for us to be able to eat healthy foods abundantly the way that it really should be, because grapes grow on vines. They, if you've ever been in a grape vineyard or, say any kind of place where, they're growing food, it's amazing how much food is grown off of a plant. Same with microgreens. Like these little seeds, look at how many plants, like these are all individual broccoli plants. Now I'm gonna harvest these. These are ready to eat. But that's essentially what got me into this whole raw food thing, was seeing this guy who was 86 years old skiing. I was just like, man, I want to be like you, because I don't want to be like all of these different individuals I work with or try to help, or my different relatives or my friends. I was seeing myself at 40 years old heading down this path where I was most likely going to end up like these other individuals if I didn't change my ways. So, like I said, I met Raw Food Romance online. I didn't meet her. Actually, I came across her YouTube channel and she had a meal plan book, right? So I bought her meal plan. I spent, I think, maybe $18 on that meal plan. And that meal plan I followed. I was like, I'm gonna stick with this. This looks delicious. If you follow her, Raw Food Romance, on Instagram, or her YouTube is Lissa's Raw Food Romance, if you follow her, you'll see she does amazing work with her photography. And she's taught me a lot on how to take pictures of my food and make it look really pretty, because of course that's our whole thing now. I mean, we have our love story, which I could link in the description below. I don't want to necessarily get into the whole story. I've got the story where the two of us, we actually rode our quad up to the top of a mountain and had some salads, and we told the story together. It's a neat story, and it's really amazing in so many ways how it all works out. I meet this guy, I go home, I get on YouTube, I find her, and I liked her mindset. She's like, I just say, I'm a raw vegan today. And I was like, man, I could do that. I could be a raw vegan today. And I'm like looking at her food in the meal plan book. I'm like, dang, I could totally eat that. I could do this. I just need to stick it out. So I did it for 30 days at work while I was working in that pulmonary clinic. And I had a couple other coworkers come with me on the journey, which a couple of them did do their best to stay as raw as they could, but I was bound and determined to do this. You know how sometimes you just get something in your head and become kind of obsessed with it. I became obsessed with researching about raw foods and different healing modalities. Now, I wasn't necessarily sick at the time. I was overweight, and there's different things that go along with being overweight, say like inflammation, and possibly like I had dandruff, and I'd get allergies, and I would probably get sick a good 3-4 times a year of just like regular flu style symptoms. And so I wasn't necessarily like fighting for my life, trying to reverse like a cancer or something, but I'm thinking if I could adopt this way of living, this could really lessen my chances of contracting some sort of ailment or disease that we see that plagues the majority of the population when they're not eating enough living foods. So that, in a nutshell, is how I got into growing microgreens and getting so geeked out on growing microgreens and growing sprouts and fermenting vegetables, because fermented foods are really, really nutritious and healthy, good probiotics for our gut microbiome. And that's what I'm really into. Both Lissa and I are really into gut health. We want to help you strengthen your gut through eating more plant fiber foods, more nutrient dense foods, and more raw foods. You don't have to be a raw foodie. You don't have to be like us and geek out and eat everything raw, right? You can still enjoy your cooked foods if that's the way that you want to live your life, but you can still ingest more raw foods. Maybe crowd out some of the cooked foods that you're eating or some of the processed foods. That's essentially what we all should be striving for, is just crowding out the processed foods and incorporating more whole plant foods into our day-to-day life. Now, at the time of meeting John, I was plant-based. I was vegan. I mean, I was vegan in the sense that I made the ethical connection where I don't want to sponsor any companies, and that's a topic for a whole nother video. What's the difference between someone who's vegan and someone who's plant-based, and why vegan and why plant-based? And that, like I said, that's a topic for a different video. Essentially though, I just wanted to touch in on why I grow microgreens and why I get so excited thinking about growing microgreens and want to help you out there to grow more microgreens. These foods are very powerful in so many ways. They're packed with more nutrients than any other plant food on the planet. Absolutely incredible when you dig into the benefits and the power of these little plants. You want to grow them, and they're so fun to grow. You can grow a seed from start to finish within 10 days. Now, if you've ever grown anything in a garden, it takes several months sometimes to harvest your crop. But what's so cool with microgreens is you're harvesting them in 10 days or more. Like these little guys, that's like basically 10 days, and they're ready. They're completely ready to just cut and put on to, our meal. So we'll eat these tonight. We've got a few others here ready to go and more in the closet here germinating. So anyways, that's essentially my story in a nutshell, a quick little version of how I even got into this and why I love microgreens so much, and why both my wife and I, Lissa, we really want to help you incorporate more raw foods into your day-to-day life. Like I said, you don't have to be a vegan. You don't have to be a plant-based eater. You don't have to be a raw foodie to enjoy these foods. Everybody can enjoy some microgreens. Everybody can enjoy some fermented foods. Everybody can enjoy some more raw foods, right? It's so good for us in so many ways, and it can be fun and it can be delicious. And who doesn't like fun and delicious, right? Most everybody I know likes things that are fun and delicious. So anyways, I hope you enjoy this little video, and be sure to get the plant-based bundle. Today is the very last day. Like I said, over 200 different products in there, totaling nearly $9,000 for $50, right? My course alone, I've got priced at $77, and you're getting over 200 other products, right? Or if you add up the total of all of the books that Lissa and I have in there together, it's over $200, all for $50. So today's the last day. Be sure to grab that before it's gone forever. Like I said, this is definitely something you don't want to miss out on. Anyways, I hope you enjoy this video series, and we will see you on the next one. Love ya.